this is Eric Martin with Board Game Geek. I'm here with designer Andy Looney, who has made many Fluxx games. Now we got Anatomy Fluxx, which is part of your STEM line.
Yes, exactly so. We have the educational series. We've brought out first Math Fluxx, and then Chemistry Fluxx, and now April 5th we have Anatomy Fluxx. And you know, I'm not a doctor. People often call me Dr. Looney because I wear a lab coat, but it's just like it's a Looney Labs shtick. You know, I'm not a doctor. And in fact, I'm really quite squeamish. I prefer the things on the inside of the body stay there.
It's usually helpful.
But but I have a very good friend who is a actual doctor. She's an ER doctor, and we were talking about what to follow up Chemistry Fluxx with, and the idea of doing anatomy occurred, and just once it was out there, she was off to the races, and she actually designed most of this game for me. Mm-hmm. There are a few things I'm pretty proud of to have come up with myself. For example, she was just going to leave the appendix out. And I said, no, put it in, but there are no goals that go with it.
Okay.
So it's
useless.
It's useless, and yet
but
it's an important.
There.
It's in there, of course.
Okay.
And in fact, it's not even useless because there is a action called appendectomy. That if someone has the appendix, you get to you're the surgeon. You remove the appendix, you get a benefit for doing that, and it's even good if it's a diseased appendix because the creepers are, of course, the diseases in this game.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to put them in because I thought, you don't really want to have that, right? But then I was talking to Dr. Layla about it. She was like, convinced me that it was just calling out to have them included. But also, it really kind of, most of the things fall down into those three categories of bacteria, virus, or mutation. And the educational value is very strong to have that. But let's talk about the educational elements here because this is definitely the most educational version of Fluxx yet because each of the keepers has a little factlet at the bottom that's something about the organ in question that you might or might not know depending on how much you know about medical things. And you know, Dr. Layla was very careful to try to have them have a good level of medical
accuracy.
Significance and accuracy and all of those, of course. Because she sort of sees this being like, oh man, if I had this when I was in medical school, it would have been so great, you know. And so she sees it as being something that medical students could actually use to drill themselves on how it works. And here's how it works. The learning mode meta rule says that there's always going to be an educational special rule in play, and so you start with name that organ. So when that's up. When I'm going to play a keeper, I don't just play it. I have to say, I'm going to tell you something about this keeper. Okay. And if you can identify what it is, then you get a bonus. You get an extra card.
All right.
And then I play it. And then, so, I don't know if you saw this one. Did you see what it is?
Here, just take one.
Yeah, let's do one.
Sure.
It's,
there we go.
all right, so I have a keeper I'm going to play. It's located in front of the trachea. And it secretes metabolic hormones.
That would be the thyroid?
The thyroid is correct.
Okay.
So you would draw an extra card to add your hand, and I would play the thyroid. But then later, the learning mode rule could be replaced by the knowledge bonus rule, which then you say, I have the thyroid. Can you tell me what the factlet at the bottom of this thyroid card is? And if you're a doctor, you'll probably be able to tell me a bunch of things about the thyroid. Is it the one on here? Maybe not. And there's another rule that comes into play for other things that you might know.
Okay.
Alternative factlets. By the way, we use the term factlet to describe these little trivia points, not factoid. Because a factoid is a thing that's not really true. Factlets are accurate little factual statements.
Okay.
Factoid is like humanoid. Not really...
Not
a
really
human, humanoid. Factoid isn't really a fact. I don't know if people understand that. So we're trying to educate in a variety of ways, a little bit of grammar mixed in with your anatomy. But of course, we've got all the different organs, and then the goals are various ways that those organs match up. Plus, indeed, there are a couple of ungoals. We've got generalized disease, which could be any two different creepers, and then the dreaded cancer, which is a mutation. And the creepers actually attach to a keeper because you might have an infection of the thyroid or a mutated thyroid. And there's a rule too called it's spreading, which says that then other keepers will get glommed onto that once on the next turn now the mutation has spread to the kidneys or whatever it is. And then lastly, one of the most sort of, it's kind of a heavy duty one. I mean, we got it's got cancer in it. But, you know, it's got all these body parts, and it's kind of heavy duty. But we like to try to have there be some fun. So in addition to all these more serious rules, we have the heartbeat. So this says if you have the heart, you have to do a little heartbeat noise for the whole time. And if you keep it going, you get to draw 2 cards when your next turn comes around. And I think that's fun.
Okay.
Anyway, there's Anatomy Fluxx.
All right.
And a little bit about it. And, of course, a big shout-out to Dr. Layla, who is really the co-designer on this. In fact, I put her name on the box because it wouldn't have happened without her.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
There you go.
Thanks for watching. And thanks for playing our game.